Well, welcome back to another edition of the Morning View. What's going on, guys? Good morning. Welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well. Welcome back to another edition of the Morning View. And there's a bit of positivity. There is still optimism. There is still momentum coming out of the draw at the weekend. Yes, we didn't get 4 wins in a row. Yes, it's 3 wins and a draw. But I tell you now, 3 wins and a draw, that ain't bad. If you'd have said to me after the last international break, you know, the first 4 games you're coming back from it, or the first few games you're coming back from it, I'll give you 3 wins and a draw. Okay, 3 wins and a draw. Thank you very much. That's exactly what I'll be having. I'll have that all day, any day. Of course, the ideal scenario is that you win, and keep winning. Sometimes you can't always get what you want. Yes, you can't always get what you want. Who's that famous song? Let me know in the chat. You remember, you know. But in the meantime, we're still looking ahead to January. We're still looking ahead to January. And we're saying that, could we actually sprinkle a little bit extra in? Could we add a little bit extra in? According to Fabrizio Romano, he said that the brain trust at Manchester United, in Ruben Amorim, in Omar Barada, in Jason Wilcox, and others, they're having these meetings. They've started planning for January, and Ruben Amorim has said to Ineos, look, I want transfers that can deliver today and tomorrow. And given how tight the Premier League is at the moment, given how close it is, could maybe those January signings be the difference between Manchester United getting Champions League football and maybe getting no European football whatsoever? You could say, oh, and that's just being hyperbolic there. But actually, it's pretty close. You can be in the bottom half of the table right now and still only be a couple of points off a Champions League spot. So if the season continues like this, those that are proactive in January, they might be the ones who are laughing and succeeding at the end of the season. So the big question is, who do Manchester United go for? What positions does Ruben Amorim lead? Let me know your thoughts, as always, in the chat, in the comments, online, on social media. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe to United View if you are new. Let me know where you're watching from, as per usual this morning. And it was an interesting reaction, it must be said. It was an interesting reaction, I think, to the results on Saturday at 3 p.m. And it was one of those ones whereby, look, it's a result. It's a result. It's not necessarily the most positive result that we were looking for. It's not the most optimum result that we were looking for. Optimum. That word rings a bell. I feel like I'm meant to do something. I feel like I'm meant to do something. When I hear that word, optimum, what am I supposed to do? Optimum. Oh, that's right. Roll VT.
Today's video is sponsored by our friends at Oxford Natural and their all-new natural supplement, Optimum Day and Night. Thousands across the UK, USA and beyond are smashing their health goals with Oxford Natural. Optimum Day gives you steady energy, curbs your cravings and keeps your metabolism firing all day. Optimum Night helps you relax, get restorative sleep, recover and keep burning fat while you rest. It's not a magic pill, but it will help you reach your health goals. Check out some of the incredible results. 2 of our own. OWEN lost over 100 pounds in 10 months and KG dropped 30 pounds in 4 months. In 8 months, football legend Michael Owen lost 35 pounds and Robbie from AFTV, Don Robbie, lost over 80 pounds. And in 6 months, Anita, an award-winning immigration lawyer, lost 44 pounds. And Linda, a law firm executive, lost over 50 pounds. No gimmicks, no needles, just results. Oxford Natural, let's get to work.
Yes, let's get to work indeed. As Linda says right there, the instrumental actually goes hard, not gonna lie. It does. You obviously, when the VT's playing every day, you can't see this, but I'm there, I'm playing like my saxophone. Pause. Yeah, it's excellent. But yes, as you can see right there in the sidebar, you can scan that QR code. You can use the code UV. You can save up to 70% off. You can get your Optimum Day, insert shot, a flex moving around the Optimum Day bottle. This is actually extra chewing gum. It's the same. Oh, wow. Yes. You can get your Optimum Night, different bottle. Yes, which is good for your restorative sleep, which is very important. Yeah, sometimes after these negative results recently, you want to make sure you get your rest and your recovery, because it's a tough life being a Manchester United fan, isn't it? It's a tough life, because even when you do get some results, you get these people telling you, hey, it's not positive. It's not a positive result. We're going to talk about that indeed. So scan the QR code. You can get optimized. You can improve your health goals. Now's the time to do it. You can do one of those things where now is it officially winter yet? I guess so. Now the clocks have changed for pretty much everyone, right? Not just over here in the UK. I know they changed for the US over the weekend as well. Now that it's the winter, this is when you really start your health goals, yeah? I don't know, sometimes people think the opposite. They think, what? Towards the end of the year, towards the festive period, Christmas time, and they're just chocolates, sweets, and other accoutrements is always just around. It's always just around once you get to the festive period. They just appear, just randomly. You go, who bought these, box of biscuits? What's going on here? And people they'll go, I don't know who brought these box of biscuits. And you go, I'll have them. Yeah. But what you should really do during the winter months, this is when you do your you go into your cocoon. That's what you do. Yeah. And then you put in the work now when people don't notice. You put in the work now when people don't notice. And then once you get to the sort of spring and summer, they go, bloody hell, what happened to you? And you go, yeah, I'm optimized. Yes. So all the information, as per usual, is in the video description below. If you click the link as well, there's a ton of information as well as success stories there as well. Let's get to some of these super chats here, and then we'll talk about the news this morning. Terrence says, not angry with Saturday's draw, but we need to learn from those 5 minutes of brain farts with the 2 goals. Elliot passed his audition. Bring him in January. I think that Elliot Anderson did well. I'd not going to sign him in January. I think that with Forest, that's always going to be a summer thing. Whether or not he goes for 80, 100, 120 million, and whether he's worth that, separate conversation for a separate time. Maybe he impressed more than Carlos Baleba did at Old Trafford, but what does it really mean? As far as not being angry with Saturday's draw, do you know what? It was a really interesting one, I think, to see, like you say, the reactions. I sort of across the board to the 2-2 draw against Nottingham Forest. I'll give you sort of my thoughts on it first, and then we'll talk about the sort of general reactions to it all. I thought, a bit like you, Terence, I thought, you know what, that's not the worst result in the world. I think that, yes, it's one of those ones that you look at the table afterwards and it's a bit frustrating, in the sense that you go, oh, what, Forest like 19th? Because I think they're 19th, isn't it? Premier League. Let's have a quick check. I think they're 19th in the league, or 18th. 19th, yes, because West Ham won yesterday. So they're 19th in the Premier League, and that's when you go, you can beat 19th in the league, blah blah blah. But I think it leaves out a lot of I think it leaves out quite a bit of context on it, in that this is, yes, a team in 19th, but they've got Sean Dyche now. It was their first Premier League home game. And these can sound like excuses, because also, as they're known as, Arnie slots. They're not known as excuses anymore, Arnie slots. They could sound like Arnie slots, but we also have to remember where we're at, who we are. Like, I do agree with those people that will say, well, you can't kind of sort of cuss these players out and the manager out, every week. And then once they win a couple of games, now we're going to really start cussing them out when they're not going to, suddenly when you're not going to be picking up points. We're going to be up and down this season. We are going to win some games. And then we'll have a couple of games where we, throw some points away, and it'll be frustrating. My biggest thing has always been, as long as we are winning more often than we are drawing or losing, I'll take it. I don't even look at it as, the winning streak ended. I look at it as, well, look, we're still unbeaten. 4 games in a row. If you'd have offered me that coming out of the last international break, I'll give you, 3 odd wins and a draw before you play Tottenham. Absolutely. This is the team that finished 15th last season, and our start to the season was pretty horrendous as well. So it wasn't an ideal performance. It wasn't perfect. Second half, I thought was really disappointing, actually. But we showed some resilience. And that is one thing I think you can take away from the last few weeks as well. We played well against Liverpool, but they equalised. We showed resilience. We came back. We got the winner against Brighton. We went 3-0 up. Impressive. Nearly capitulated. Showed resilience. Went up the other end. Got the winner. Or put a nice sort of full stop on the game to make it 4-2. Good. Against Nottingham Forest, go 1-0 up. Get in there at half-time. Go, right, we're in a good position here. Then, like you say, 5 minutes of brain fart. Suddenly we're 2-1 down. And I do think that I do agree with Ruben Amorim in the sense of, I think 12 months ago, even 6 months ago, probably lose that game and probably lose it by like 3 or 4. We'd have probably just completely capitulated and done nothing. So the fact that we showed a bit of resilience, came back, got a draw, not ideal because you wanted to continue the win streak going, but it's not the worst result in the world. And also, this is when I think the agendas were agending. Saturday evening, Sunday morning, the agendas were agending because if you weren't, if you're not the biggest Ruben Amorim fan, for some reason, a 2-2 draw was like some kind of gotcha. See, this is why Ruben's not going to work at Manchester United. And you go like, really? Like, really? And even those that, for me, like I said, last week, or the last 7 days was the best example of what I've learned throughout this whole process, which is can't get too carried away either way. Don't get too carried away after those 3 wins in the sense of we're in a title race. We're not in a title race. We are not in a title race. And also after that draw, this is why Amorim needs to be gone by Christmas. It's a draw. we didn't even lose. It's a draw. And we're absolutely still in the contention for those European spots. As I've said, we're down to 8th. We're a point off 4th. And I don't even like the whole, we're technically only 4 points off top, this, that, and the other, that kind of nonsense that we did last year. But the league is very, very tight at the moment. You look at 11th, Aston Villa are in 11th. Theoretically, they could win a game and go up to 3rd. That is how tight the Premier League is right now. So as long as we're in that mix, and I say that mix, when you get to the business end of the season, when you get to your sort of March and your Aprils and you're in and around that mix, that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. If we beat Spurs at the weekend, you're looking at this batch of games in this after that last international break, which is 4 wins and a draw. That's almost unprecedented for us in the last 18 months. So I can't argue that. And like you said, Terence, I was definitely not on the negativity coming out of the weekend. I just thought that was a bit silly. Amanor says, Ten Hag, you idiot. You sold Alvaro Fernandez. He is on fire. I did see that goal. I saw that goal from Alvaro Fernandez for Real Madrid at the weekend. And it is just funny because he got sold at a time which we didn't have a left back. That's when Shaw and Malacia both out for like a year. We had Sofian Amrabat playing left back. Just sort of let that one settle for a second. We had Sofian Amrabat playing. But it was inverted left back, so. Yeah. I'm just maybe not going to think about it that much. That sort of. And then we did get in a left back. We got Regulion in. We got Regulion in and then we had him at left back for a bit. And then it got to January and we sent him back to Spurs because we didn't need a left back. But then we didn't have Malacia and Shaw for the rest of the season. Yeah. And this is when I say we need to be careful. I think just in general with coaches, because I remember even then during that time, Eric was the savior. Eric was the one leading us to the promised land. If you dared question some of the decisions at the time, you can't do that. And it's retrograded, says Ten Hag was a criminal. That was not the narrative at the time. So that was my lesson from back then, which is don't get too attached to players, to coaches. And now that I've learned from this section here, which is don't get too carried away either way in terms of results. It's a long season. So it's a long season, a very long season ahead. Amador also says, get me Anderson and Baleba and Wharton this summer. That might be an expensive summer. In terms of the transfers, though, Amador, and if you haven't already, click the like button. In terms of transfers, there is a little bit here, and this kind of did tickle me, to be fair, because I love it when they talk about secret talks. Not so much of a secret, but Fabrizio Romano said, conversations in private have now started between Ruben Amorim and the board for the January transfer window. Ruben Amorim's message to the board is that he wants players who can help today and tomorrow. Now, of course, these transfer talks between Ruben Amorim and the board are so private that Fabrizio Romano is talking about them in a YouTube video. So maybe not that private. But in terms of what Man United need for the January transfer, that's going to get old very soon, the January stuff. I apologize. I just can't really stop saying it now. What we need in terms of positions, obviously we're going to be affected by AFCON. That's clear to see. And it feels like at the moment, every game that we have, it's like a reminder of what we're going to miss, you know? So for instance, last week against Brighton, it's the Brian and Mbumo show. You know, it's the Brian and Mbumo show, and we're like, look at this guy. He is top-notch, top quality. By the time the AFCON comes around, we are going to be in big trouble. He's creating, he's scoring. What are we going to do? And then the week goes on, and we go, yeah, but that's for them. It's all right. Then we play against Forest. Ahmad bails us out. Brilliant volley, brilliant goal. And we go, oh, we're going to really miss him when it comes to the winter, when it comes to the going away for AFCON. What are we going to do? So I don't know necessarily if we go into the January market to sort of explicitly replace them, because I just don't know. I don't know if they'll do that in the sense of, I don't think they'll panic and do that. We need to get someone in to help replace Mbumo and Ahmad in January, because we don't obviously know how long they're going to be go for. But at the same time, as we spoke about on Trafford Talk last Thursday, I think if it fits into the plan, the long-term strategy, and it's someone that they've been looking at, then I think that they'll do it. In terms of positions, I still say, obviously, I know there's been so much talk about midfielders, and you still look at our midfield being Bruno, Casemiro, both on the other side of 30, both question marks about their future in general. Casemiro out contract at the end of the season. Bruno, as much as he says, I'm not going to Saudi, then another possible exit opens up with him having a release clause for certain European clubs. It's a whole thing. So we know that we need midfielders. We know we've been linked to Elliot Anderson, Carlos Baleba, and others. I actually look to towards the wing backs. I look towards the wing backs because every week, you know, there's been so much talk about substitutions and whether or not, you know, Ruben gets them right and the impact on the game. Are they too soon? Are they too late? Or, you know, are they impacting the team negatively, positively, what have you? I do look at the options that we've got at left wing back, obviously in particular, but also right wing back, even though we've got Ahmad there. And I go, your team performance, I don't think, can fall off the edge of the cliff, a cliff that much when you take, one player off. I get players have certain amounts of importance to the team and influence and impact on the team. But the fact that we don't have really like for like in those wing back positions is a real concern. We can't take Ahmad off and then go, but it's all right because we've got, we've got another proper right wing back coming on that can make a big impact. Or if Ahmad's not delivering, this wing back can come on and he'll be a threat and he's going to be doing overlaps and he's going to be offering his own qualities. We don't have that. Left-hand side, certainly not. I mean, we're playing Dallo there at the moment as a stopgap, almost like a way to get him into the team. And why you'd want to get Diogo Dallo into the team at the moment, I don't even know. But you look at sort of Patrick Dorgu, that's still very much he's got a way to go. Got a big way to go. He's athletic, can get forward, he's quick. Technically, though, long way to go. Obviously, defensively, I still think he has a way to go. Struggles to get balls into the box. Then the other people, we've got people that can go in there. So you've got Mazraoui, for instance, can go left wing back, can go right wing back. You don't really want him to, though, because every time he's played there, it ends up being a negative result for us. Not that that's on him, but it's just because you kind of go different ways, don't you? So, for instance, if you're like a Mazraoui, when you're playing as a fullback, if you're a fullback in a back four, once you then go to a system that plays with wing backs, you're either going to go to being a fullback that's a wing back or a fullback that goes into one of the centre back roles. Mazraoui, his best adaptation is to go into one of the centre back roles, whether it's a right or left centre back or even the middle. Mazraoui can play anywhere across that back three and technically anywhere across that back five. If the game required it, let's say you're 1-0 up and you go down to 10 men or, you're proper backs against the wall, then maybe you would bring a Mazraoui on just to be like, look, we're going basically to a back five. It's going to be pretty much flat back. You go, all right, cool. But we need more options. We need more options in those wing back positions. We need more like for like. We cannot have just Ahmad be really the most sort of attacking wing back we've got. We need more. We need to have more of a threat on both sides. So I'd be looking in the January window going, can we see if we can get a left wing back? Can we see if we can get a right wing back? Can we get more in those positions? And then obviously it goes without saying, doesn't it, that we need the midfielders because we just need to regenerate that whole area. But the irony is that at the moment, one of our best performing players is the player that is out of contract at the end of the season in Casemiro. Now, and obviously there was last week, wasn't there, the discussion about Casemiro. Wouldn't you give him a new contract? And what would the circumstances have to look like for him to stay? And I know people are saying about pay cuts. I would still say, like almost with the results, I'll wait and see how the season plays out with Casemiro. I'm still of the mindset that things can come to a natural end. They come to a natural conclusion. I think Casemiro at the end of the season, I would almost actually, to be fair, I'd sort of leave it up to him. I'd go, look, you can stay at Man United, Casemiro, but these are going to have to be the terms. And we're very aware that these terms are probably not that favorable for you. We'd have you take a massive pay cut because, the contract that you signed, full transparency, if we were here, we wouldn't have given you that contract. We just wouldn't have given you that wage. That was the previous regime. We wouldn't have given you that. Sort of out of respect. Look, this is what we'd be willing to give you. I don't know. He's on, was he 350 at the moment? It's probably down to about 300-ish because of not being in the Champions League for a couple of seasons. Again, even if you cut that down, you're still one of the highest earners at the club. So I don't know how much how far you could bring it down whilst maintaining as respectful as you possibly can. So I'd be like, oh, these are the terms. And also you'd probably be a bit more of a backup player because we're looking to bring in sort of midfielders. So is that appealing to you or not? If you want to carry on playing elsewhere, we would totally get that. But we're certainly not going to keep you on the terms that you've got right now. Regardless, I think, of how well he does this season. And look, he's our best midfielder. Casemiro is our best midfielder. Scores the goal at the weekend. He's heavily involved. at the weekend. He constantly is. But that can't be the long term. That can't be sustainable. That will probably get us through this season, just about. But there will be games. There probably already has. I can't really think off the top of my head, but there will already be games where we lose because the midfield's not that, and we're going to have a big midfield overhaul. I think in the summer, probably not in January. I don't know if I see that one happening in January because those midfield signings that we're being linked to, I suppose, whenever we're linked to signings, they're expensive. But when you're getting quoted 100 million for Carlos Baleba, 100 million for Elliot Anderson, I don't think they sound like January transfers, do they? But then I also don't think we'll probably end up paying that for either of them either, because it doesn't seem like the Ineos thing to do, does it? It doesn't. Just Ineos, I just don't think they would spend that much. So I think when it comes to the positions in January, you're looking at wing backs, you're looking at midfielders, and then we'll see how it goes from there. Another super chat here. Fraser D says this formation is too expensive. To what end? I saw it was a piece from an article. Actually, it was about a year ago. I think it was written by The Athletic, and it was talking about. I mentioned this on the Match View on Saturday. It was written about Liverpool's search for their manager post Jurgen Klopp and how they ended up on Arne Slot, and obviously they were linked to Ruben Amorim. Funnily enough, I think this was on DR recently. There was the where they did the whole HMRC thing. And there's videos there of AGT being like, I know Ruben Amorim, he's the one. Ruben Amorim's going to come in Liverpool. He's the one. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. And the bit in the article when they were talking about Ruben Amorim and Liverpool's interest in him a year or so, or 18 months or so ago, was that he had a really good track record for keeping injuries down. He had one of the best sort of records for a lack of player injuries across Europe, which is something that he has brought into United. We're like the lowest in the league, I think, for injuries this season, which is pretty remarkable considering where we were 18 months ago when we're one of the top teams in the league for injuries. And Erik ten Hag's talking about injuries and stuff like that. And I know that other things play a factor in that. We're not playing as many games as we were under Erik ten Hag. Under Erik ten Hag, we're getting to finals of cup competitions. We're in the Europa League. Even when we were in the Europa League under Erik ten Hag as well, we finished second in our group, so we had to play in extra games. We were playing a lot of games under Erik ten Hag, and that obviously does play a factor. We're not playing nowhere near as much. But Ruben Amorim and his staff do have a good track record in keeping injuries down, and I think that has been seen by the squad. So that was one thing that Liverpool were interested in with Ruben Amorim. But one of the reasons they didn't go for him in the end was because they felt that it would take around £400 million to buy the players required to fit into Ruben Amorim's system, which is quite ironic, isn't it? Because then 18 months later, they go and spend more than £400 million on a variety of different signings for Arne Slot after winning the Premier League, in fairness, but, after spending that amount of money. And they're arguably worse. Football's a funny game. But I suppose that by that discussion point, saying that it would take around £400 million to buy the players required, then like as all Elite says there in the chat, well, we're over halfway there. I guess maybe then you stick with it. Look, you're this amount in. We put this amount of money in. We might as well go the whole way. I don't know. Is that sunken cost fallacy? Maybe. But I thought that was an interesting point, a very interesting point to say the least. So yes, that is the talk about January transfers, that they've begun January talks. Honestly, I do think it's a bit of a nothing story, a bit of a nothing burger. The reason why I say that is because I think they probably have these talks multiple times a week anyway. I'm not sure that there is like, right, today's the day we start planning or strategizing for January. I think they do that all the time anyway. when they're doing these summer transfers, they're already doing the groundwork on January deals or next summer transfers or what have you. These are what these departments are for. This is what a recruitment department is for. It's what transfers departments are for. If you're the Manchester United director of football or Manchester United head coach or Manchester United CEO, you're in and out of meetings all the time anyway. So I don't think just suddenly go, right, let's talk January. We haven't just, it's November now. We should probably be talking January, shouldn't we? You would hope people would be doing their job and been having these meetings for quite some time. Jamie with the super chat says, flip-flops in the chat, people. Do you know what it was? This is when I go back to the agendas we're agending at the weekend, because it was like, so obviously we drew the game, and then the point scoring was just, again, off the chart both ways. And it's almost like, it's like you've got two kids and they're both totally opposite of each other, but they're both kind of doing the same thing in their just totally different way. And you almost feel like you wanted to say to them both, like, both of you, stop it. Stop it. So you over there, child number one, you're so strongly, Ruben out, that even when we're drawing games, and actually when you look at it, it's not the worst result in the world. And we got 3 wins and a draw, and we're a point off, the European spaces. It's not that bad going. You're now using a draw against Nottingham Forest as a way to be in like, see, this is why Ruben's not going to succeed. And this is why Ruben's a fraud. You go, stop. And then the other one, which is like the really positive one, but again, so staunchly positive that they're now going out of their way to being like, so we drawn, that instead of focusing on the draw, they're going around to the other people going, so what, you Ruben back in or out now? You Ruben out again now? Is that what it is? Is that what it is? And you go, just again, stop it. Stop. Enough. Enough. Stop. And then also, because then you want to say to that positive one, like last week, we were talking about title charge and going around telling people to apologize. Stop. Enough. And you, the negative one, I don't know what you're kind of peacocking about how that this, because we didn't win 4 in a row, this is why Ruben's not going to succeed. Stop. Enough. It's like, enough. Both of you, stop it. Stop it. Calm down. No title charge, but also no pitchforks. Get the manager out. Just enough. Enough. Things are, in comparison to where we've been over the last 18 months, we're all right. We're in an okay place. There's not a lot to be totally furious about. And even the things that I suppose we are angry about in terms of like, oh, we're not in Europe at the moment, we can't fix that today. We're gonna have to see what happens with the season with that one. We've got to, as Joe Blackman says there in the middle, we've got to find a middle ground. And we are so crazy that, bless Frank, because I can't believe even the narrative on something as trivial as someone that's like, look, I'm doing a thing online. I won't cut my hair till we win 5 in a row. And when I do, the hair's going to charity and blah, blah, blah. People have started having a go at Frank. Poor Frank. Going, it's Frank's fault we didn't win at the weekend. I'm not even bullshitting you. Like, some of the like anger that went to poor United Strand of like, you know what the problem is? You know what the problem is? He's putting too much pressure on Man United. Frank, a guy with long hair, is putting too much pressure on these players. They play for Manchester United. You saw with Senna Lomans. He signed for the club. His Instagram followers went from like, I don't know, was it like 10,000 to like 300,000 or something ridiculous? That's the pressure. That's the scrutiny that comes with it. The fact that Frank's not cutting his hair till we win 5 in a row, that's not tipped us over the top. While if Frank wasn't around, we'd have beat Forest at the weekend. No, that's the pressure. We just love to try and find stuff. You know what I mean? And that's what, whenever we don't win a game, we just try and pick something arbitrary as to why we didn't win that weekend, right? You know what I mean? So we'll go like, oh, it's because of Frank, or the weekend before, oh, it's because of Flex. We didn't win. Oh, it's because of this, or it's because of that. It's, you know what I mean? Or it's because of people that wanted Ruben to do this. They think they know more than the Manchester United manager, and you sort of just go like, guys, like it's just sometimes you don't win games. Sometimes you're not going to win every single game. And certainly the first thing that came into my mind when we conceded those 2 goals against Forest, that 5 minutes of madness, 2 really poor goals as well, is the manner of which we conceded them. The way we conceded them was so shit. They were so shitty goals, weren't they? The first thing I didn't think was, bloody hell, Frank. Bloody hell, Frank. I didn't look at, Luke Shaw and Dalot sort of colliding into each other, and maybe they could have done better at the back post going, cut your hair, Frank. If you'd have done that, Shaw would have cleared it. Dalot wouldn't have been the best that he's in. Get some clippers. It's enough. I think we're a very sensitive bunch, aren't we? You know what I mean? We're a very, very sensitive bunch. So bless him, because then it gets into he just wants to put pressure on the team, and he wants to do this, he wants to do that. You go, oh guys, he's growing his hair. He's growing his hair. So yeah, and also, if you do take a step back, like still one of the most informed teams in the Prem. As much as I know we don't really like to associate sort of positive, positivity, performances or results with Manchester United, really, do we? But we're actually in a good place. We are, and also just the table is just very, very tight at the moment, isn't it? I mean, I think it's starting to settle a little bit now. Like I said, last weekend, the top 4 involved like Bournemouth and Sunderland. And you go, that's probably not going to last. Now, after this weekend's results, you see an Arsenal who are kind of running away with it, aren't they? But I do think City will push them quite close. So you go to Arsenal, City, Liverpool back up into 3rd. They'll naturally go like, what, crisis? I mean, it's amazing that Liverpool can lose 4 games in a row. They can be up into 3rd place still, So just goes to show. Bournemouth, I think they'll be close. I watched them play against City yesterday at the Etihad. They are still good. Bournemouth, they were unlucky against City. They're a good side. Andoni Iraola's a brilliant coach. Tottenham, they're in 5th. I mean, this is the concern, isn't it, with the Spurs stuff? Yeah. So having watched Spurs a couple of times recently, they are not great. They are not great at all. Their record at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium as well is shocking, absolutely shocking. It's something like, I think they've won 3 or 4 games there in. I don't even know how many. It's awful. Their record at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is terrible. On top of that, there's I don't know about upset in the dressing room, or it's not, trouble in paradise there already. I don't know if you guys saw this. So after their game, after their defeat against Chelsea, you get Thomas Frank come on the pitch and try to go to the players, and you get Jed Spence and Mickey van der Ven walk past. They sort of refuse to shake the hands or acknowledge really Thomas Frank. And I thought, wow, that's incredibly disrespectful to your coach and incredibly disrespectful to your, someone that's got seniority over you. I thought, well, that'll be a big story. That will be a big story that will absolutely make the headlines. For there's going to be a firestorm, because if this has happened to us, this will be a firestorm. I then see the analysis on Match of the Day from, I think it was Alan Shearer and Ashley Williams. And the way that they did their analysis on that is, it's not really a big deal though, is it? You know what I mean? It's not really a big deal. They're just frustrated. They're just frustrated. They're just very frustrated with. They've played bad today. And maybe they don't want to go around and applaud the fans or shake hands with the coach. They just want to get back into the dressing room. It's not that much of a big deal. And I literally sat there watching those words leave the mouth of Alan Shearer and Ashley Williams, going, it's not that much of a big deal. It's not that much of a big deal. It's fine. I thought, you motherfuckers. I thought you motherfuckers. The reason why I thought that is because I thought, swap out Thomas Frank for Ruben Amorim and swap out any Spence and Van der Ven for any Man United player. Imagine it was Bruno. Could you imagine? Not that he would, but could you imagine if Bruno Fernandes didn't shake the hand of Ruben Amorim or ignored him, put the hand like that, and he just goes, no, go that, leaves the pitch? Could you imagine? Could you imagine if that did happen when Marcus Rashford was there, or when Alejandro Garnacho was there? Could you imagine? Any of the bomb squad, Jadon Sancho, even that, yeah? Could you imagine any player, any player? Could you imagine if that happened? We would have so many discussions on it. There would be media, there'd be segments, there'd be full-blown videos, there'd be this, there'd be that. Nothing. And I know United hated, adored, never ignored, and I know it's because we're massive, and I get it, but just next time something like that happens with Man United of last season, Joshua Zirkzee gets subbed off after 30 minutes, walks down the tunnel, tears in his eyes. Remember the mileage that came out of that. And he came back, by the way. He came back, sat on the bench. But still, the mileage that was out of that one. Yeah? You've got two players openly ignoring a manager. Has got his hand out. Yeah? Got his just ignored and gives it that. And it's not that much of a big deal. So just next time something like that happens with United, because it will, because it's football at the end of the day. You're dealing with human beings. You're dealing with emotions. And they make a big thing out of it. Just remember that. Just remember that. Just remember. That's what it is. Just remember that. Because that's when you see, the double standard that's out there from the media. Because it's just, again, it's bullshit. Absolute bollocks, isn't it? Rubbish. Not that much of a big deal. And actually, they're right. They're right in their analysis where they're saying there, where they're going, look, it's not that much of a big deal. It's fine. Because it's not. It's not that much of a big deal. Because you can overblow anything. But it's not that much of a big deal. Just keep that same energy when it does happen with Manchester United, because guess what? It's not that much of a big deal. Personally, if I was Thomas Frank, I'll be pissed because I'm like, look, show some respect, and you've been shit. The minimum you can do is just shake the hand, go around, clap the players. That's about it. But still, I just thought, again, you motherfuckers. That's what I thought. Because, sometimes when you just see it, and I know that the neutral, the non-Man United fan might say, look at these Man United fans trying to sort of shoehorn Man United into everything. But it was nasty work. It was nasty work. Lil Yo, the super chat, says, I understand Van der Ven and Spence. Maybe they're just acknowledging our tribal chief Roman Reigns over Thomas Frank. Well, I don't blame them for that. I mean, of course, you've got to. I do it daily. Just once or twice a day, just to make sure. Sometimes I forget, and I'll just be like, oh, wait a minute, what's the time? I'll be like, oh, yeah, right. And or do the I don't have the Ula Fala. But it's just occasionally, and for that also one's in the chat, obviously, of course. DJ, big up DJ on the match with us on Saturday. Be on again with us at the weekend. Says media and pundits need to be held accountable. Well, they need to, but they never are they? There's a lot of talking for the sake of talking, which I know is ironic considering I'm sat here doing exactly the same. But we live in a world of hypocrisy. Got to kind of deal with it, ain't you? But yes, on the Spurs game at the weekend. Actually, I want to see what is the Tottenham home wins. It's something like that. There you go. The New York Times, which is the Athletic. Spurs have won just 4 home league matches in a year. Are the answers off the pitch? Now, how many times have we? So is that in the Prem or is that just in all comps? Because if that's all comps, then I know that 2 are against us. the majority of those home wins are against us in the last year, which just goes to show, isn't it, that our record recently against Spurs is shit, isn't it? I mean, there's no other way to sort of dress it up, isn't it? There's no way to dress it up. Our recent record against Tottenham is crap, whether it's in the Europa League final or Carabao Cup, Premier League. It's not good. But maybe that was Ange's Tottenham. And do you know what was really annoying with those performances against Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham Hotspur? Is remember a lot of them. It's not as if like Spurs were amazing as well. Some of our recent like matches against Spurs have been just awful matches. That one in the Carabao Cup, which they felt like Spurs were desperate to try and give us the game with some of the goals that they were conceding, and we still didn't win the game. The Europa League final, they were the better team, but I think by proxy of just being there, because it's one of the shittest games of football you're ever going to see in your life in terms of quality. That was awful. I remember, I think it was the second game of Ten Hag's second season. So that was Ange's first game at home at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And that's when you had, like, I think Bruno misses a sitter. Like, we missed some proper sitters in that game. And then second half lost it with some really shitty goals, poor goals. So, like, recently, it's not as if, like, even Spurs have just been amazing against us. We've just been horrific. Just been absolutely horrific against them. So, and I do think, actually, if we play to the level we've played post-international break, and to be fair, you would say largely this season in the Prem, apart from certainly some poor performances, but largely last 4 or 5 games, if we play to that level, I would hope that would be enough. But as we've seen against Forest last at the weekend, what we can't have is those 5-10 minutes of just madness. And I think I do think that Forest game was a bit of a light reminder of just where we're at. All right, okay, maybe we've made some improvements, we've made some strides, but also let's completely ignore that whole title charge bullshit or whatever. We are going to be very up, very down this season, which is scary because for us as a fan base, that is not good. for one of the most erratic, and I put myself firmly into this as well, for one of the most erratic, reactionary fan bases in all of football, we are actually going to be a very up and down team this season, which means we're going to be, as a group of fans, very up and down. Very. If we know that, yeah, we're going to have some moments where it's not going to be good. Maybe we're going to lose a couple of games in a row. We're going to have maybe some embarrassing defeats. Not going to be good. But also, we do have the potential to, go sort of 4 unbeaten, win 3 in a row, put a bit of a run together, and you go, so we're going to have some really extreme highs and some extreme lows. I'm not sure how we're going to be, if we've got really the sort of minerals to handle that. So we've got to do our best to kind of stay as reserved, I guess, as we possibly can. But we're gonna be up and down. That's what it is. We're gonna be up and down, and we're gonna be up and down, and we're also gonna have a week between games. So we're also just gonna have like a week to ruminate on all of this positivity or negativity, really, isn't it? So last week we had a week to ruminate on the positivity, which manifested itself in, actually, we might be in a title race. And actually, as Amorim changed anything, as he tweaked, as he adapted, or if when we lose games, or if we put a negative run together, it's going to be, this is why the club needs to be sold to Dubai. Someone coming out of Dubai. Think about that. Actually, that's just disappeared, hasn't it? I've just remembered that a couple of weeks ago there was all this chatter about us getting sold to Dubai. Where's that gone? That's gone quiet. It's gone quiet in the last couple of weeks, isn't it? That was a big thing about ex-players getting contacted about being ambassadors. I mean, obviously, I know that I'm sure there's probably something going on behind the scenes-ish, but that was a big thing a couple of weeks ago. Now it's just, yeah, it's just not really there anymore. There's just the story, the stories that we find ourselves wrapped up in. It's just kind of crazy, isn't it? Yeah, so there you go. A reminder, it's Monday, so that means red carpet this evening. I'm sure there'll be a lot to say. I won't spoil it for you guys, actually. I won't spoil it, but there was a lot of discussion. There was a lot of discussion in the red carpet group chat yesterday. I think it was yesterday. I won't say who said what, because when it comes to the group chat, confidential. But Bradley had some things to say. The stuff he said got a strong response. I know James was involved in the strong response. I know Flex was involved in a strong response. I think Scott was involved in a strong response as well. KG had a response which actually had nothing to do with that. He said he's probably not going to make it this evening. For those that not know, this is around KG's birthday time and stuff like that for him this year. So everyone in the chat, this came from James, not me. So before KG gets angry, before kind of revealing and all this kind of stuff. But this came from James. We've all got to wish KG a happy 50th birthday. Yeah, I know he doesn't look it, does he? He doesn't look it. And some of you may say, oh, and that's clearly a joke because KG had a big birthday party last year where he turned 40. He's 50. 50 years old. KG, well, actually, he's one of those celebrity ages. He's actually 55, but he's been 50 for a little while. But he's mid 50s. But he's 50. 50. So make sure you pass on those birthday celebrations and those many happy returns when you jump on his live or on the videos. Make sure you just say, look, happy 50th. By the way, in brackets, we know you're 55. Wink, wink. But yeah, so make sure you pass that on. Make sure you pass that on to him because I'm sure he'll like it. I think he's probably a bit nervous. Maybe that's why he doesn't do the public age. He doesn't want people to know. But yeah, because they'll go, look, buddy, this guy in his mid 50s is being a flip flop. When you're closer to when you're like 40, you can do it a bit more. So yeah, pass that on. Pass that on. Anyway, guys, have a good day. Have a good Monday. Like I said, we'll be back later on this evening for the red carpet. There'll be a lot to say. And we'll be back then. Did I get caught up with super chats? Actually, I think I did. All right. Anyway, have a good day, folks. I'm out of here. Peace.